OKS Youth Ministry podcast, where 3 of the OKS Youth Ministers talk about youth ministry. I'm Michael Deese, and I'm joined by Jeremy Crow and the legendary Hunter Puckett.
What an intro.
That's well
deserved, I'd say.
Definitely. No. He is a legend.
No.
He is a legend.
Man.
Yeah. How much longer till you finish your MDiv?
The fall.
The fall of man?
It feels like it.
I should graduate at the same time.
Yeah, we're trying to be done at the end of this year, and then be able to start the doctoral work January, I guess. So not a whole lot of break in between.
I mean,
look at him.
How many books do you have that you're going to publish once you get your PhD?
I have a couple, but
6.
It's maybe maybe one more than that. I'm not sure. No, it's been fun. I enjoy it. I enjoy reading. I like punishing myself by writing papers, so it's fantastic.
Yeah, man.
But not only that, second week in a row we've played a game before we started recording, and we've actually been here probably 2 hours at this
That's
point.
actually a little embarrassing, and I don't know that our listeners all need to know how long we just spent talking and playing.
Yeah, but
it was 2 hours.
Almost. It was just
almost
under.
But it's the game's called The Mind. I'm sure we mentioned that last week. I don't remember.
Yes,
but the game
we
is
did.
called The Mind, and it is fantastic.
Yeah.
It's not really a full youth
Not a
group
sponsor.
game.
Not a sponsor.
Yet.
Not
Not a sponsor yet, but it's not a full youth group game. It'd be hard, depending on the size of your youth group. It'd be hard, but 4 to 5 players would probably be ideal for it. I'm not. Does it say anything? of
Four is what it says on the box, but we've played with 5 before. But
We've played with 3.
It gets
a lot.
real difficult once you get to 4 players.
Great game. Look it up. It's not in. I will go ahead and tell you, it is not at the Decatur Target,
And it's not in our show notes, and it's not on our website yet.
What website are you talking
we don't
about?
have a website.
That's correct.
Are you talking
So,
the one that we're still waiting on you to get back.
Which?
yeah, it's not on there yet.
But
So
Maybe one day.
Youth ministry talk. I took my youth group, I took my juniors and seniors to golf. I don't know if anyone that listens has been to golf. It's a pretty cool youth conference. It started out with my seniors last year. They wanted me to take them on an all-expense paid trip to some sort of senior trip. And I told them, no, that's not how the youth budget works. But we found Golf Youth. I think Golf Youth Experience is what it is officially called. We call it golf.
GYE.
And I took the seniors last year. Turns out it's very junior heavy as far as like the colleges are there and they're providing lunch and things like that. So I took juniors and seniors this year. They had a great time. It was really cold, but it was a lot of fun. Matt Miller spoke. Eric Gray spoke. They both did fantastic. The board there does really good. So if you are looking for an event that is in January, it's a fairly cheaper event. That is definitely an event I would recommend, something to look into. I've never met someone that just does not enjoy the beach. Maybe in January it's not as enjoyable, but it's a lot of fun. The kids really enjoyed it. We had a good time. And I won in putt-putt this year. Got second place last year, came for blood this year, and probably played the round of my life in putt-putt.
was Chris Fresnel there?
He was not.
That's why you won.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's not invited. There's a reason he's not invited to these trips.
Wow.
Well, he's a preacher. He's not cool enough.
Okay, so let me say this. That sounds like a really fun trip and an awesome trip. I just can't get another trip into my winter time with our youth, and it blows my mind. There's a ton of groups that go.
Mm-hmm. Well, not only that, it's the same weekend as EU.
Yeah.
So I feel
That's
like
tough.
I feel like a lot like the South is divided.
You got to choose one or the other.
Like people below are going to golf, and then people like Tennessee and above, they're all going to EU. But like both events are packed out.
Yeah.
I think it's a cool
EU's a
thing.
great event too.
Yeah.
I love EU. That's the one event that we can't make it happen. There's just no way that we can do it. But it is. I fully support. I've taught at EU for 10 years in a row, and then when I moved here, we just can't fit it into our schedule.
So let me make y'all feel young. I think
do
I
it.
was at the first EU.
I don't think so.
First or second. I was close.
Wait,
When did it start?
like as a student, you went?
Yeah.
Okay, that's probably true.
Yeah.
I was thinking you meant like
No,
you were
like
a youth
as a
minister.
high school student, I think
Yeah.
I was at one of the first EUs. It was a number 1 or number 2.
Well, there's a lot of really good conferences too, and I talked to a handful of people. They didn't really know my ties to exposure, so that was a really fun conversation. But because they're like, "Oh, it's a terrible time. It's too expensive." I'm like,
It is a terrible time.
It is a bad time,
And
but
it is
like,
expensive.
It is.
but like a lot of these are
But it
just
was
as
good.
expensive.
It was good. It was
I mean,
good.
like it's unbelievable. But I feel like for every youth group, there is an event that your kids should be going to. and it's going to benefit your kids, you just have to find that event. And just because we recommend these events doesn't mean that these events are going to fit your youth group the best.
Right.
Yeah.
You have to find something that fits them. And here's something too. If you're not taking your kids to any of these events, you're really missing out.
Yeah.
Because your kids grow a lot seeing other kids and being around other kids and seeing that they're not alone in these journeys as well.
Well, and the value of being in a cabin together or in a condo or whatever, like for 2 to 3 days, 3 nights, whatever. There's a lot of value in just the community and the camaraderie of your group, right? Unity building in your group. Forget about the conference. Like the conference is great too, but just the unity you find in the shared space is valuable.
And I was pumped for our house. And then our guy, shout out to Stephen DeWitt, he was there.
DeWitt.
And one night he took our group out for ice cream, and he was staying with Sam in Beltline.
Classic
And he
Stephen
said,
behavior.
he was like, hey, can you take me back over to Beltline's house? I was like, yeah, sure, no problem. Like, I was pumped about our house. I showed up at Beltline's house. Holy cow.
They
That
spent
was
a little
a
more?
giant house.
Okay,
It was
so-
huge.
On that note, we head to Winterfest in a few weeks with Beltline.
Yeah.
We're doing a joint
Y'all's, the
group
cabin that we saw
in,
at M2Y.
in one cabin.
The M2Y cabin?
Yeah.
Or, the one that we saw during it?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
It was that big. It was huge.
Yeah.
It was a giant house.
So we
I
have
was
a
blown
cabin
away.
that sleeps 78. I have 77 or 78 people signed up. I can't remember if we're at full now,
That's
but
awesome.
we're real close.
That's great.
And it's going to be packed, and it's going to be awesome.
Yeah.
But that's the fun part of it too. Our rule is always like like if you're in middle school, like you need to bring an air mattress because you're not going to get a bed.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
be prepared to sleep on the ground.
I've kind of already told my 6th grade boys, hey, you're the bottom of the totem pole. You'll be on an air mattress if we have to do it.
like go ahead and be prepared for one.
Yeah.
Well, we have our spring retreats coming up into February.
Oh, yeah.
Same weekend as CYC. We have that. And, man, I'm excited about it. It's going to be really good.
How are you going to do both, though?
Lucas Dial is our speaker.
Are you talking about the president of M2Y,
The
Ministry to
same.
Youth Conference?
That's
One-
right.
The,
Yeah.
Wow.
the guy who's given us a sponsored vendor booth for M2Y 2026.
That's the one. That's the one.
What a guy.
waiving the fees.
How about this? This is something
Should we
I didn't
start
think
now,
about.
or is this too early to start?
This is something I didn't think about.
We've got a while.
Who was someone that had no affiliation with the board at M2Y that had a booth there?
Us?
Us.
Us, and there was one other,
Stephen DeWitt.
No.
Stephen DeWitt.
Wait, no.
The true supporters of M2Y,
Scarborough
I feel like.
doesn't, does he?
Where's that at? Which one was that?
Last
He's the
Leaders has some on the board.
Georgia School of Preaching or Citadel now.
Oh, they
Chuck-
did, like, they helped with meals and stuff, which
oh.
Stephen DeWitt helped with meals and
Yeah.
stuff too. So
Are you saying that we may be the #1 best sponsor?
that's
of
correct. That's what I'm
M2Y?
trying to say. That's what I'm trying to say. I'm trying to say that we're the
That
best.
we care about it more than anyone.
That we are the greatest. And
All right, we're not going that far, but we will say
We do
You
like
do as a youth minister, a youth worker, a youth deacon, whatever it might be. You need to be attending some sort of youth conference.
Yeah, that's for sure.
To fill your cup, to learn more about youth ministry, and to be surrounded by other youth ministers.
yeah, the community of
that's
it
big.
really is awesome.
So if you're not planning to, it is super early. I doubt registration's out yet, but M2Y is a fantastic conference.
I think it
one
is.
coming up here soon is Revival.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Are we going this year?
I will probably be going.
Yeah.
I can't commit because April starts work that week, and so it
I
just
might
kinda
have to
depends.
drive because it ends Wednesday and I have a class on Wednesday mornings. So I might come back
to
Tuesday
Florence.
night.
So I will say, if you're looking for one of these kind of things and those dates don't work with you, I'm going to one with Steve, with our preacher, in Little Rock called Remission. If you go to remissionconnect.org, I have no idea what it's going to be like, but it sounds like it's going to be awesome. I haven't
Also-
been before, but they said that there's like around 500 ministers registered right now.
Who was it? Is it JD and Philip Jenkins that are doing the FHU lectureship
Oh, yeah,
yeah.
ministry thing? That's always really good.
Yeah, it is.
My only like hang up with that is that you're very limited on how many lectures you're going to get to hear.
Yeah,
and you
is
miss
it
the
still
stuff
at-
on campus because you're out at Mid
Is it? I would
South.
say, is it still at Mid South?
I think it's at Henderson.
Okay.
Okay, so it's closer at least. Yeah, as opposed to Mid. I mean, Mid South.
But it was good. Like you may be missing stuff on campus, but it was still a good.
I'm planning on going
youth
that
ministry
Monday. I'm not staying or anything. I'm just gonna go for the day.
I'm doing
kinda
that.
See
I'm
everybody.
doing the same.
Walk through the vendor booth, stuff like that.
I'm excited. I think it's a really good event, and I'm looking forward to it. Especially two guys that I highly respect, JD and Philip, are kind of the guys planning it out.
I like JD. He's a good guy.
Great.
Well, hey, if you see us at any of these events, stop by, say hey. We're normal youth ministers just like you. We're not, by no means are we famous or anything like that.
Hey, but if you give me like $50, I'll whatever you want me to do. I'll
$50 $50.
$50. I mean,
I did just see on this conference that United Voice Worship is leading the worship stuff, which is going to be super fun.
Hey, Lucas,
At
is there
FHU?
any way?
No, at this
Hold on, I wanna
Remission
give-
Connect thing.
Oh,
in
I want
Little
to talk
Rock.
to Lucas real
Dude,
quick because Lucas
Josh
listens.
is awesome.
UVW.
Lucas, is there any way that we can get Kara Powell to come to M2Y?
I'm sure
I know
there
that's
is.
going to be a stretch, but that would be awesome, and I would be
If
your
you
best
can make
friend.
it happen, we would actually consider paying our own fee for our vendor booth.
No. If it happens, I will pay the fee for the vendor booth. I want to see Kara Powell.
Well, we'll consider it. Well, okay.
We'll pay it.
We'll agree.
If Kara's
Once
there,
you
we'll
get to
pay it.
Fuller, though, you'll see her.
I
all
know,
the
but
time.
I want to be able to see her before I get there. It'd
Yeah.
be great.
All right. Well, it's time to bring it in.
Let's rein it in.
Let's
Lock it in.
Lock in. We're 11 minutes in. We haven't even started. Today's topic is one of the more serious topics that we've discussed. I know for a fact that everyone listening, if you've been doing youth ministry for longer than, I guess, a couple years probably, has experienced this. And I'll ask y'all to share me a time that you had a student who was all in and was very involved in your youth ministry and in church, whether they were leading worship or going on mission trips or paying attention in class, whatever, and were really locked into your youth ministry. But after they graduated, they walked away from the faith.
Yeah.
And
I'm not. I mean, obviously, we're not going to say names. I had a kid.
Yeah.
It was one of my. I think it was one of my intern years at Flint. But man, and he came with a friend, and that was a big issue. You know, your own faith first. Your friends just bring you to church. But he was at every single event, and he was answering questions. And he was doing great. And then they graduated, and his friend and like his friend group, they all went to college. He stayed here, and I was really concerned about that. And just over time, he just really fell away. And it hurt me. It took me a while to get over that. I was distraught. Just, I don't know, the time and effort you put into all these kids and you want what's best for them and you feel like you're trying to do what's best for them and then things just end up not working. I wouldn't say like, I definitely wasn't impressed by it, but like it really bugged me. And I called my youth minister, or Brandon Edwards at the time, and I called him. I said, man, like I'm just going through this and like I don't know what to do. I feel so bad. And he laughed. And I was like, I don't think that, like in my mind, I'm like, this isn't a laughing matter. Like this kid's not coming to church. He said, Hunter, if I quit at the first time that someone didn't stay faithful, I would have been in the job for 1 year.
Yeah.
And that's something that we have to understand. At the end of the day, the kids are making their own decisions.
Yeah.
We can do the best that we can. We can have all the correct events. We can have the best Bible classes. Every single thing can be lined up for this kid to be successful in their spiritual journey for the rest of their life. But at the end of the day, they're the ones that have to make that decision.
Yeah.
What is it? We can lead them to water. We can't make them drink. We can do everything right, but at the end of the day, it's their decision. And that's something I had to realize is it's their decision. I've had a handful, since then that haven't stayed faithful. They're just kind of in and out. Maybe, these lukewarm Christians, but it's just, I don't know. That one still bugs me. They just all the time that you spent with them and Bible studies and worshiping with them and they went to Maywood and they were highly involved.
Yeah.
But at the same time, if you've been listening to our podcast for a long time, we also have it on the other side where the kids have fallen away, but they've come back.
Yeah.
And that's always the prayer. That's always the hope is one day that they remember where home is. When they do hit that rock bottom or they do, whatever milestone it might be in their life that turns them back to church, you hope that they see that as well.
So Jeremy,
I had a kid that really was a leader in our group. I won't say which congregation or anything like that, but leader in our group, really involved, engaged, strong participant, invited friends, helped with Bible studies, led things in worship, very involved, very active family in the group. And then he went through some bad life circumstances. He went through some challenges with his marital relationship. This is as an adult, and went through some major things, and kind of turned away from church in general, abandoned the things that are that he stood by for so long. He and his spouse split. He's gone through a pretty tumultuous life since then. And he's still out there, right? He's still kind of in this void. And I don't know if that's going to change anytime soon. I want to hope that there's a grounding of faith and somewhere in there deep enough that something will at some point connect, and some point he'll find his way back into it. But it's it's aggravating because you know that there's a solid core there. One of the things with Coleman that we do is we work kind of adjacent to, literally by our location, to Child Haven, to the children's home. It's a group foster care home, and so we deal with a lot of girls. It's an all girls campus right now, has been for the last 10 years, and we deal with kids that are going through some really, really hard things, and we kind of have them for a short time. Part of the nature of children's home ministries is the transient kind of, they might be there for 6 weeks, they might be there for 3 years, you don't know. And so seeing those kids come in and out and trying your best to connect with them, and then they're gone, right? Or you do your best and they still don't connect with it, and then you see them on Facebook 2 years later and they're making stupid choices and they're making decisions that are terrible for their spiritual life, for their family, and it's frustrating to see it. And we often, the three of us, see it, as a glimpse through things like social media. You'll see some post about them or something that they've, or some life decision they're making that we know is not healthy. But we're not really in a position to influence them anymore because they're out of their, our area of control or influence. Yeah.
Yeah.
What about you?
I've had several, but there's some where they were not just members of your youth group and kind of came to stuff, but there's some who they were leading mission trips. They were, super involved. They're great family.
Yep.
And they just walk away, whether it be something with church or with them going to college and the environment that they put themselves in there. Where it just catches you off guard is really the big thing. Is that, they're all in, they're leading worship, doing mission trips, paying attention to class, in Bible classes at every event, and then you're confident in where they are spiritually, and then you were wrong, and that's just a really tough thing, and especially when it's someone that you've known since they were in 7th grade, and then they've been through your youth ministry, they've been through everything, and then they make the thought of it is that they make the conscious decision to just
disregard their faith.
Yeah, just to walk away, and it's just a tough thing to deal with. And so I would first like to just say, it is very real, the emotion that you feel when that happens. It is not something to just kind of, I get what Brandon was saying, but I don't want it to sound like he was just saying no, it's not a big deal at all, because I know he took it seriously. It's just, it is a big deal. And it's tough to deal with that, but you can't let that bring you to a place where you're not going to be effective with the others.
Well, it's hard because, yes, this is our job, but we love our job.
Yeah.
We want all the kids to stay faithful. That's no youth minister's goal is something different than that. We want everybody to stay faithful once they graduate or continue to live their life. And it's, when they go against that, when they go, when they forget all the Bible classes that they sat through since 6th grade, or, they forget the mission trip they led or things like that. And it hurts a lot too, when it is the kids that are very involved. Like what Michael was saying, the kid led a mission trip and he was doing all these great things. And then to see them struggle is a tough situation as well. So let's go kind of going into the next thing. Why do you see these things happen? What are maybe some common reasons students walk away?
My personal thing is, that statistic of by the time they're 16, what is it? 70% of them have already decided whether or not they're going to be faithful or not.
Yeah, they've decided before they've graduated.
Yeah, and so I think that is good. I think, sometimes we have students who they just want to make their parents happy. They want to be a problem solver.
Shortbacks, students who are required to be at church.
Yeah. And so and it's not that they're required to by their church or by their parents. It's that they want to be respectful to their parents.
Yeah.
And they go
Obligation.
because they feel obligated to go, not because they have
Duty.
any kind of spiritual thing, but it's like, I want to make sure that my parents know that I love them and I support them and I so they're going to go. And that's a hard thing to place because you don't know if the people are being legit or if they've already made up their mind.
Yeah.
They're walking away. A lot of times people they don't have their own faith. They've just kind of inherited it, or they pretend, and they haven't actually hit that moment of commitment.
Well, and that's been my big thing at Flint. When we do our big youth group dinners, or when we bring our sixth graders or fifth graders into sixth grade and add them to the youth group, and I've always expressed that every year is, hey, what we're doing here is we're trying to build your own faith. It's no longer your parents' faith. It's no longer your grandparents' faith. It's no longer my faith or the preacher's faith or whoever's faith it is. It's now your faith, and now we have to build that up. And because we talk about it a lot, and it used to be my goal. Their first Sunday of college, what are they doing? Or once they're out of high school, once they're out of the house, like what are they doing that first Sunday? Are they waking up, or are they going to church, or are they sleeping in? And that used to be I'd always say that, hey, what about that first Sunday? What about that first Sunday? But then I really got thinking about it. What about 5 years into it? What about 3 years into it? What about your first Sunday after college? What about your first Sunday, when you're, in your mid 30s? What does that look like? So instead of us as youth ministers, instead of us focusing on that first Sunday, maybe focusing on the rest of their lives. Obviously, that's a lot bigger picture, but what does that look like for them? Are they going to be ready to face the world after leaving your church, your youth group, or whatever it might be? Are they ready to face the world in a way that they're going to understand who God is, that they're going to understand what their faith is, and that they're going to understand that, yes, the world's going to try and push at that, but it's not going to push hard enough to take it away.
Yeah.
And oftentimes that happens. What we talked about, intellectual doubts. You get to college, especially these secular schools or state schools, you get to these colleges and all of a sudden that they're teaching something that they've never been taught before, that they've never heard before. And they're thinking, oh, well, my professor, they're really smart. They have the PhD, so they would know more than my preacher or my parents. So all of a sudden they start to question that. And that oftentimes we see faith struggle in those situations as well.
Yeah.
Which is a good plug for Christian universities.
Yeah.
They're not going to push away from that.
But also a good plug for, as a youth minister, being open to conversations that are going to challenge your kids to think introspectively and think deeply before they get to the point where someone that doesn't have their best spiritual interests is asking those questions in a hateful way.
Well, and it's okay to teach them. It's okay to push back. You can disagree with the professor. It's completely okay. And understand that if they are teaching these things that are contrary to what they've been taught their entire life or contrary to the Bible, you can push back in these situations.
There's several books that I have done. The Fuller Institute put out the Can I Ask That? Those books.
Yeah.
Those ask some questions that are pretty taboo. And I think that they're incredible. I think they really do a great job. Another one that I'm teaching currently with our senior high is 10 questions every teen should ask and answer about Christianity. And that book really focuses on more of a cultural aspect of Christianity and how Christianity is in our culture. Believe it or not, like what this study shows is that your average person who didn't grow up in religion believes Christianity to be immoral, which has never happened before in the history of the world. To this extent anyways, where Christianity, there's people that are outside of Christianity who believe that if you are a Christian, you are not a moral person.
You're bigoted and hateful.
You're hateful and that is not where morality comes from. Morality comes from acceptance and tolerance. And so that's one of those things that this book really focuses on. Is it says, let's look at it from a world's perspective of what a Christian is saying and how we can make that sound a little easier to them. And it does not back off of truth at all. I mean, it's very firm in what the Bible teaches, but some things that, there's been studies, all kinds of studies done on this topic that have done. The Fuller Institute has done probably the most extensive studies, but Barna has also done some. Lifeway has done some, and some of the biggest factors of people that are, when they graduate and leave the faith, is that first off, we talked about this, never personal. The faith was never a personal faith. A lot of times, this is some of the Fuller Institute really focuses on the idea of things are being more entertainment than discipleship.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
there's youth ministries and college ministries that I know of and I am very aware of that they have huge numbers, but not a single one of them have remained faithful unless they were grounded by good youth ministry, or a good parents,
Did y'all see? I think his name's Drewski. He had the skit
Yes.
of the mega church
I
pastor.
did.
But like,
It's funny
someone
because
posted about it, and they're like, everybody's offended by it. Like,
Yeah.
how dare you do that? That's so wrong. But like, someone posted about it, like, but do you not see the issue?
Right.
That's exactly what happens every single Sunday, and you look for this entertainment. And people are like, oh, how can you make fun of the church? And the person is very blunt. Is like, I don't think that's the church. That you're missing the point on that.
Yeah, nobody's making fun of it.
So many people are looking at it, or even church in general. It's, well, what can I get from it instead of what can I give to the church?
Yeah.
And when you look at it from an entertainment standpoint or a selfish standpoint of, hey, what's the church going to offer me instead of vice versa? It's going to be a very shallow situation.
Yeah.
Similar, last week I talked about purpose-driven youth ministry, Doug Fields, and he has the circles. And I mentioned that we added another one. And I remember what I called it after we finished that is consumers, because they're all C's. So you have consumers, and those are the ones that just show up when there's pizza or there's fun or it's Maywood or, you're going to do something that's not just sitting down and having a Bible study. And it's tough because they're looking for the entertainment. They're only wanting to do the fun things. Oh, you're going whitewater rafting? You haven't seen me at a single event other than Sunday mornings, but I'm going to show up. I'm going to be at that one.
And then the last thing is, and we might spend a little time here, is, we got a couple. There's life transitions, just sometimes you just move. And the other one is, what is now a very popular phrase that people use and throw around all the time, church hurt. Church hurt. Something happened at the church that has pushed them away from the church. And I have a long rant that I will take at the end of this, but y'all go ahead and discuss that.
Well, so let me mention this. I do think that people do experience hurt within the church, whether it's something that the preacher or the youth minister said or did to them in some way, or something in leadership, that they didn't like, a choice or whatever. I think sometimes we get mad and hurt because our opinion differs than what direction someone in leadership chose to take something. But one of the things that Michael and I have both been through a training called Listening Lab, and it's from a guy, John Savage. He may be passed away now. I'm not really sure, but he was a Methodist minister that taught a material called Listening and Caring Skills Lab. And he's got a book, Listening and Caring Skills. It's very worth taking a chance to read if you haven't already. But he talks about a thing called the dropout track. And he talks about why people leave church. Not just kids in youth ministry, but why do families leave church? Why do adult individuals drop out? And he really discusses like when some sort of cluster of anxiety is being unnoticed or unresolved, that they start down this path of walking away from their faith, dropping out. And he kind of identifies that there's a window of time that we as the church, we as the ministers, we as their friends, whatever, can respond during that time, that we may pull them back from a dropout track. But if not responded to, that they will find themselves leaving their faith eventually and replacing it with something different or reinvesting in some way in some other part of their life. I absolutely have seen that to be true multiple times. I taught the dropout track with our students a year or two ago, and I said to them, I said, look, y'all can look at this track of things and see what's happening. And I said, y'all can look at kids in our youth group that have gone down this path, and it, and I know it, and we missed them. I missed them, you missed them, and so it's something that's valuable to consider. Is there is times where someone is hurt, and when the church doesn't respond to that pain or doesn't listen to what's going on, it doesn't mean that we can fix it, but listening and hearing what's going on in their life really makes a difference, whether or not someone feels like they're cared for and loved or not. This is kind of the thing that we see in the schools where a kid is hurt in some way, and to the most extreme, there's two ways that they kind of end that path. And on the worst kind of pain, hurt, they either take their life or they try to take someone else's. And so when people are hurt and there's unresolved things in church, it absolutely can lead to people dropping out or expressing anger in some way.
Yeah.
So I just bought the book that you just mentioned.
Listening and Caring Skills by Dr. John
It's
Savage.
great. It's
on
really great.
Thrift Books, which I think I bought the last one, so terribly sorry. It was $5.19. But if you're a Thrift Book user
Great
like
book.
myself, you get a lot of free books that are like $7 or less. So I only had to pay $1.49 for it to be shipped to the house.
Look at you. Go.
Great book, by the way.
It's a really great
You're gonna once you get into
I don't
it,
think
we're
I
gonna
have
talk
it,
about
but
it
we
more.
might have two. I might have 2 copies now.
So good.
I wanted to just kind of discuss the church hurt thing is when it's leading you to the point where you are dropping out. I want to just tell you, I have patience and I am being sympathetic and I'm being empathetic.
Yeah.
But at some point you just have to be blunt. Mm-hmm. And when it comes to this church hurt stuff, I have experienced church hurt. You know, many of us have experienced church hurt.
If you're listening to this podcast, you've probably experienced church hurt.
Exactly. There has been something that has hit you on a personal level, not something that just kind of happened. You're like, oh, I don't like that. No, I mean something that hurt you on a personal level. And there's a reason why you're listening to this podcast, and it's because you have overcome that hurt. You have overcome,
or you're trying to,
or you are at least trying to, or attempting to. I'm just going to go out there and tell you, if you are a Christian and you go to church on a regular basis, you are going to experience church hurt. You are going to be hurt by the church that you attend. That doesn't mean that you quit going. It doesn't mean that you encourage your kids to quit going. It doesn't mean that you quit doing ministry. It doesn't mean that you quit. None of that stuff is a thing that you should do. The reason that you are thinking or considering those things is a selfish reason. It has nothing to do with anything else other than it's a selfish reason. You are being a selfish person when you are making that decision to get out of church because the church hurt you. How many things do we experience on a regular basis where we are hurt by a business or by a restaurant or by whatever, but we continue to go to that restaurant or go to restaurants in general, you know? There's been times where a waitress or a waiter has been extremely rude and annoying, and it's just ruined my entire
But
restaurant
you know the
experience.
food there's good, and it's worth coming back.
And so, and that's the thing is like, well, my experience this time was bad, but that doesn't mean it's going to be bad every time. Right. And so not only that, okay, so the experience at this restaurant was bad. Let me go to a different restaurant. You know, if it gets to the point where every time I go to this restaurant, it's a bad experience, then let's go to a different restaurant. That doesn't mean that you just quit going to restaurants in general, right?
So not to segue away from this, but I loved your illustration here. There's a certain, I won't say which one, but there's a certain Mexican restaurant in Coleman that Jessica has found a fly in her food 2 different times. That one's hurting a little bit, but it didn't mean we quit on Mexican food. We just don't go to that one
Exactly. You know, and that's the thing is like, you cannot say, well, because I had a bad experience at this one church, because of this one thing, because of that you're going to completely leave your entire faith and decide I'm going to walk into the gates of hell because a preacher said that he didn't like my dress. Or he said that my kids weren't good kids.
And the reality is that Mexican restaurant isn't her favorite, but there's some people that love that one, and it fits them well.
Exactly.
You know, take the illustration back to your church. It may not be the congregation for you because there might be some pain or some difficulty that you can't get through. But like you're saying, it doesn't mean that you abandon Christendom completely. Like Christianity's over for me.
Right. Yeah. And I'm sorry that I just have feelings about that because I have heard that so many times where people are they're leaving their faith because they had one bad experience, and it hurts my heart. And I want them to know, like, that doesn't make any logical sense.
Yeah.
You can make that decision emotionally, but there is no logic behind that.
Yeah. What was the book we had to read in Gilmore's class? The I Love Jesus but Not the Church, or we had to look through that study.
Yeah.
Idea of, it's like, man, you can't say I want to be part of Jesus without saying I am part of church too.
Correct.
Yeah. I like that. So this morning, the Jenkins Institute, they send out emails if you're a minister and you're subscribed to it. If you're not, I'd definitely subscribe to it. It's great.
It's great.
So on Mondays, they have their 4R Monday, which is, hold on, I got to get closer. I can't see
Reading, writing, arithmetic.
No. Renew, refresh, reboot, and reset. And the title of this, renew, refresh, reboot, reset. The title of this was When It's Time to Quit. And it was talking about obviously quitting ministry. And then they go through this.
This could be applied.
Yeah,
to,
and this is for what we're talking about right now too. They go through this and they say like different like things that are reasons why people might quit, and they put passages behind it. But I just wanted to read examples of times that it's used. When you feel inadequate, when you fall, when you have taught falsely, when you have been hurt by the brethren, when you are burnt out or feel spent, when the results aren't what you hoped for, when you feel alone in work, when everyone seems against you, when discouragement whispers you're done. And then they say a couple more things, but I love this last sentence. I just want to say this. The Bible gives many reasons to repent, rest, recalibrate, and refocus, but it is remarkably quiet about quitting. The Bible doesn't talk a lot about quitting. It talks about kind of refocusing, regathering yourself and continuing to do it. People are going to make excuses for why they're leaving the church. And at the end of the day, we have to understand that they're excuses because we have faced those same reasons why we would leave, but we've decided to not allow those to be excuses in our lives. Church hurt is a real thing, and I feel bad for those that have, really experienced it. But a lot of times we are making excuses for the things we've gone through. And sometimes those reasons aren't even that good. But that's a side note.
Yeah. I mean, it's that, just to kind of close this out, this idea here, this thought. I'm sure y'all have heard the Casting Crowns song, Praise You in the Storm.
Yeah.
And I think that does a great job of kind of describing, we're going to go through things in our life where things are just not going well, whether it's at church, whether it doesn't matter. But I love that. I'll praise you in the storm, and I will lift my hands for you, or who you are, no matter where I am. That thought of, I could be in the deepest, darkest place that I've ever been in my life, where I am so mad at God, I'm mad at my family, I'm mad at whatever. The things that you love most and respect most have let you down over and over to your place where you are at your lowest place. But even if you are mad at him, you still should be praising him. You still go to worship, mouth the words if you have to, but do it. And no matter where you are, he says, "In every tear I've cried, you hold in your hand." Even though the tears that I'm crying, I feel like are your fault, you're still catching them and you're still hugging me, and you're still carrying me through that. You never left my side. And though my heart is torn, I will praise you in this storm. I love that song whenever we talk about this topic. I had it pulled up whenever we, as soon as we started discussing this, I had that song pulled up because it really has made an effect on me for sure. And it's that idea that even in your worst times, even in your darkest places, even when you're the maddest you've ever been, and it's all God's fault, still go to worship and still mouth the songs. And we see biblical example after biblical example of that. And so, moving on. I do want to bring up that we need to find ways that we can process the grief that can come to us because of one of our students who walks away from the faith. That can really affect us. And I'll tell you, one of the biggest things is to discuss that grief with someone that you trust. It can be a counselor, it can be a friend, it can be a mentor. It can even be your spouse, but discuss that feeling of you feel like you're a failure and you begin questioning whether or not this is really what you should be doing, and sometimes it can even lead to you yourself doubting your faith. But those things are things that you need to have someone that you can talk to about those things, those topics.
I like that. Well, and it's, it's not that you're obviously we're going to feel like we're failures, and that's going to happen, but we have to understand that we also have to be honest about it. Look and see, maybe we did do something different, or, what if we would have done something different? You have to answer those questions too, but oftentimes too, we have to grieve honestly. Be honest with yourself in those situations. Don't minimize it. Don't play it off as, oh, well, that kid just had no hope from the beginning.
Yeah.
It's, what could I have done that's different? For me, I oftentimes think of like maybe the kids on the fringe. The kids are, they show up, they're not really part of it. They don't really do a whole lot. And you feel like you need to focus on them, but you also have all these other kids that are, all involved and they need you as well. And you're trying to figure out, what time do I devote to these people versus the other people?
Yeah.
And what does that look like? Maybe you should have paid more attention to the fringe at that moment. Or maybe, you had a lot of classes on evangelism, but maybe you should have been talking more about discipleship. Whatever it might be. Be honest with yourself on that. And of course, pray through it. Seek God, seek his wisdom. Go to him for guidance in these situations as well.
I think one of the things that, and Brandon, you told the story at the beginning where you kind of laughed at this question that you had, but I think he also probably understood at that time that we have to protect ourselves against bitterness about these kind of moments. That we have to understand that we're not Jesus, and the salvation of each of these kids isn't solely dependent upon us. And the other side of that is we need to realize that a kid who walks away from their faith doesn't mean that we're bad at our ministry or that we're doing a bad job or that we should quit or whatever. It doesn't define like your entire ministry of the things that you do, and it can feel that way, especially when it's one that's really heartbreaking, right? One that we really thought had it, and they didn't, or they gave it away. It's so hard to not beat yourself down on that, but I think he understood that when he laughed about that. He said, I can't rest my entire ministry on one kid sticking with it.
Yeah. And this is something that a mentor of mine told me, and I was kind of talking about this topic with someone, and they said to me, well, even Jesus couldn't save his disciples.
Mm.
Yeah. He was 10. He was 11 to 12.
Yeah.
One of them walked away, and in the most horrible way that you can walk away.
And I think it goes back to what you said earlier, not having a strong, firm commitment to begin with. I think that he kind of had a weak commitment to begin with, right? Or ulterior motive.
And so how can we put ourselves believing that we are better than Jesus in our ministry is a joke, right?
Yeah.
And so if Jesus can have someone walk away from his discipleship circle, we will have that too. Yeah. And that's just going to be part of our job. Even people that we trust in our inner circle, the one who's at every meeting and who's at every youth event.
Or they're in your leadership group.
And they're in your leadership group. It's still going to happen.
It's tough, and it's realizing we're not the end all be all. We don't have all the answers, and I think we've claimed this multiple times, even on the podcast. We're not the only source. I told the parents that we're a supplement to what you're doing at home. The parents have a big role in it too. But at the same time, it does get frustrating when parents try and blame you because their kid fell away. But yet the parent wasn't seen a whole lot from 6th grade to 12th grade while you were doing ministry yourself. So it does get frustrating. And I think we also have to understand that, fingers are going to be pointed, whether it's parents pointing fingers at you or you trying to figure out, hey, what could I have done different? What did I do wrong? And trying to kind of seek that out as well. But parents might blame you for that, and just know that that's okay as well, because they're also grieving in that situation.
Yeah. And so we're in that moment, where if you've lost someone has walked away from the faith, and that they have, what can we do to try and win them back? And then / what can we do to make sure it doesn't happen again? Make sure it doesn't happen to another student. What are some steps that we can take?
I'm going to leave the door open. I'm going to leave the door open, baby.
I don't know that.
You don't know that one?
Did you just make that up?
I did. Do you think that I could sing that?
I think he just wrote it.
I do think that we do keep the door open for the chance for that conversation to reopen, right? I want to make sure that kid knows that I'm still there, that I still care about him. I think that a shining example of this is, and I'll brag on him because he won't do it himself. Hunter did this, right? What was it, like 6 billion days you prayed for this guy? No, he said it was like 1,000 something days.
Yeah, it was equivalent to like 4.5 years.
Yeah, that he prayed for this guy every single day, and he reached out to him, let him know, hey, I'm still praying for you, care about you, whatever, and just kept the door open to a conversation. This is a kid that he thought has potential to return to this, right? And the hope is that we look at all of our kids and hope that they have that potential to come back. But to, care about this person doesn't mean that you annoy them or you're obnoxious or you're constantly blowing them up with text messages, but you're saying to them, hey, I still love you. I still care about you. Right now, I have a friend. Michael knows who this is. I have a friend right now that's battling through some moments in their faith, and they're questioning things, and they're struggling through. Someone that was absolutely committed, absolutely deeply impacted by the gospel, and had devoted their life to being a part of that story of the gospel, and has in the last couple of years kind of walked away from that. And so this person is in that place right now, and what I'm trying to do is let them know I love them, I care about them, I disagree with them, and that's okay. But I want them to know that I desire for them to come back to that place of faith and to reunite their relationship with God, and that door is still open for that, and that no matter how much they disagree with me or whatever, that love, that desire for them to know Christ is not going to change for me. Trying to keep that conversation open because the opportunity may happen, right?
Yeah. I have a real big problem with this, and I have to catch myself before this conversation starts, and then be like, okay, I need to ground myself first before I continue in this. But not getting defensive.
Yeah.
You know, I got defensive when we were just talking about, the church hurt stuff. I was like, no, I'm going to be defensive.
You did,
but we still have to find a way to be, to listen to the doubts without being defensive.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean that we're saying that they're right or whatever.
Right.
It means we're going to defend what we thought. That's true. Mm-hmm. But it's also to say, listen to the doubts. And it doesn't mean that we have to respond, right? Mm-hmm. It doesn't mean that we have to, because they know where we are. They know how we believe. And
they wouldn't be having
thought.
the conversation with it if they didn't know.
That's right. And so it's important for us to just listen to the doubts, be patient with them, and then just focus on the things that you are able to control. And that is keep discipling your current students, the students that are involved, that are committed. Stay active with them, involve their parents, teach things that you may have lost him because you didn't teach the right things, or you feel like you could have done a better job of teaching. Those things are things that you can control. Be proactive instead of reactive.
As bad as it sounds, not that you're dismissing that person, but let their story be something that teaches you how to be better at what you didn't do with them.
That's right. That's
well,
right.
And constantly check into that. We all have different curriculum. For me, I've written all of my curriculum, and like every 4 years, I kind of go over it again. What do the kids need? And I have this basic test, quote unquote, that I give them, and they answer Bible knowledge questions. Yes, that's important. That's part of it. But I also want the practical side of it as well. What are they learning to be a better person? How are they doing on that side too? So you kind of reevaluate it, and you notice, hey, this class kind of pointless. I need to focus more on this instead. And realizing that kids change year to year. So if you have a curriculum where you're doing the same thing every single year, it might not be a good fit to continue to do that. Especially if you're not reevaluating it and seeing that it's still applicable for the students that you have right there in that moment.
Yeah. And then again, just, keep in mind that many who walk away will return. We see that with the prodigal son in the Bible, Luke 15.
Well, and be ready to run towards them when they do.
And be ready. That's exactly where I was going. Be ready to be looking for them.
Yeah.
You should be on the porch looking for them as they come up over the hill. And so, and then, constantly encourage them and tell them that let them know that you're praying for them. And it doesn't have to be every day, but you need to just, let them know, hey, you came to my mind this morning. I just wanted to let you know, I said a prayer for you, and keep that going. I also want to let you guys know that we can be that trusted voice that you need someone to talk to. Any three of us, send us an email, oksyouthministry@gmail.com, and then you can also message us. We get a few messages on the social media stuff too.
The social medias.
And those of you that watch at home, I know y'all. So
it's weird because we haven't gotten any website usage.
That's
lately.
right. I don't know.
It's like people aren't going to the website.
The reality is, last year we could afford a website because M2Y gave us a vendor booth sponsorship. This year we had to spend all of our website money on paying for a vendor booth at M2Y. So
we just couldn't afford a website this year.
Yeah, all of our
you do what you can.
Yeah.
And, there's people who could help with that.
And shout out to Joey Jameson. He messaged us on.
Is he the
Instagram.
leader at the Daily Bugle?
That's J. Jonah Jameson.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's J. Jonah Jameson. Spider-Man.
Are we?
We've got to catch the Spider-Man.
Are we towards the end here?
Yeah, we are towards the
Okay,
end.
let me mention something. We had so we went to EYC. I've got a friend that I've made because of our podcast, which is kind of a weird thing for me to say because I didn't think anybody actually listens. So Grant is a friend of mine from Shelbyville, Tennessee. Shout out to I'm sorry, not Shelbyville, Shevel, Shevel, Tennessee. Grant's the youth minister there at the Fairlane congregation. He is an awesome guy. He's someone that we connected with last year at Revival, I think, and he told us that he'd listened to some of the podcast. I don't know how he came across it, but it's awesome that he was listening to it. And so we saw him at EYC. We got to sit down and talk for a while. And then we were talking about parent surveys. And so he had sent me an email asking, hey, you talked about that a little bit. Do you mind sharing some of that with me? Now, I will say, I have not yet sent him my stuff. We talked about this just a couple of days ago on email. And I'm getting together some parent survey stuff to send, but I'm going to ask you guys to do that too for me. But what I wanted to say is, if you are one of our listeners, if you're one of the 7 or 8 people that listen, we would love to know resources that maybe are valuable to you. If you've got things like, a parent worksheet that, you give out for surveys, or if there's, like I've sent out some budget stuff before, like ideas that we do for budgeting. If you've got things like that, or if there's like a book or something that's really helped you in your ministry and you think maybe the 3 of us could benefit from knowing about it, we would like to know that. And maybe something that we share with our listeners too.
Even if you think that we've already read it, share it.
Yeah, because we are always trying to accumulate more resources that will help us be better than just okay, right? We don't want to be just the okayest. We want to try to do a little better. And so I appreciate Grant reaching out with that. And we have listeners every now and then. We'll email Michael or one of, Hunter or I, and ask about things, and they share things with us. And so we love that kind of stuff. So please continue to do that.
All right. Is that everything? Everybody good?
I think so.
That's it.
All right.
Hey, listen,
Well,
it's going to happen. Don't allow it to affect you too badly.
That's right. Yeah. You're going to be hit by this. It's going to happen. And make sure that you are grounded and listen to this podcast a couple times if you need to. Give us a call and email us. Let us know what's going on. And we'll try our best to help out in that situation.
Maybe share a story that you've gone through in this same situation and how you handled it.
Yeah. And one last thing I would like to ask our listeners to do for us is, I'd like to know some feedback on our end of the show song we had last week.
Wait, what are you talking about?
How many of them actually
did anybody stay long enough to hear it at the end? If you didn't hear it, maybe go back last week and listen, or maybe we'll give it another chance.
Let us know if it needs to be more emo as well.
Yeah, it definitely needs to be more emo.
But I was pretty proud of what we brought at the end of the episode. But if you liked what you heard, let us know.
Yeah,
in the comments,
and stick around because we
might play it again.
We may play it again.
We hope your ministry is blessed.
Blessed.
Thanks for joining us today in the important conversation of youth ministry. Go and follow us on Instagram and check out okayestyouthministry.com for more information about our upcoming episodes. We'll be dropping a new episode every Wednesday morning, and we look forward to talking with you again next week. And hey, it's okay to be the okayest youth minister around, but let's all strive to be just a little bit better.
Doing our best, we're not the greatest, but we're loving these teens, we're the okayest. Michael, Jeremy, and Hunter too, keeping it real for youth ministers like you. okayest youth ministry podcast. Real talk, real ministry, real okay.
Yeehaw!